Good morning. This is Miss Mary, Storytime Programmer at the Faulkner County Library in Conway, Arkansas. And today we are reading chapters 35 and 36 of Escape from Mr. Lemoncello's Library by Chris Grabenstein, and published by Random House. All right, here we go. Yesterday, when we left off on chapter 34, Haley had found another clue and decided to keep it to herself in the meantime. Let's see where chapter 35 starts. Entrance to Community Meeting Room B will only be granted to Kyle Keeley, Sierra Russell, Akimi Hughes, and Miguel Fernandez, said the soothing female voice in the ceiling after the four teammates had swiped their cards through the meeting room door's reader slot. This makes sense, said Akimi. We needed a place to organize all this material, put it on the walls, and draw a chart like the FBI always does on TV when they're tailing the mob. Stole the meeting room idea from me, Keeley? Charles Chiltington was standing in the doorway to meeting room A on the far side of the rotunda. No, said Kyle. We just needed some place to throw our victory party after we win. Not going to happen, Charles said smugly. Must I remind you, I'm A. Chiltington. We never lose. And he disappeared back into meeting room A. After Charles was gone, Kyle led his team into meeting room B. Miguel posted the blank blueprints he had found up on the walls, while Sierra set up the Bibliomania game board on the conference table. I'm glad they finally said the name of that game again, because I knew it was Biblio something, but it's Bibliomania. I'm glad this room won't let anybody else in, said Kyle. And by anybody, you mean Charles Chiltington, right? Said Akimi. Totally. Akimi grabbed a marker and wrote a neat outline on the dry erase walls. Okay. Clues so far. Definite clues. Number 1, from the zeros or aughts room, get to know your local library book. Number 2, from the Art and Artifacts room, Willy Wonka candy rhymes with Andy, fine glass elevator. Number 3, from the 200s room, Bible verse, thou shalt not steal. Probably clues. Books, authors on the backs of library cards. Number 1, Miguel Fernandez, Incident at Hawks Hill by Alan W. Eckert, and No David by David Shannon. I love that book. Number 2, Akimi Hughes, One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish by Dr. Seuss, and 9 Stories by J.D. Salinger. Number 3, unknown. Number 4, Bridget Wadge, Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing by Judy Blume. Ah, another one I love. And Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling, which, you know, of course. Number 5, Sierra Russell, The Egypt Game by Zilpha Keatley Snyder, and The Westing Game by Ellen Raskin. Number 6, Yasmin Smith Snyder, Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne, and The Yak Who Yelled Yuck by Carol Pugliano Martin. Number 7, Sean Keegan, Olivia by Ian Falconer, and Unreal by Paul Jennings. Number 8, we don't know. Number 9, Rose Vermette, All of a Kind Family by Sydney Taylor, and Scat by Carl Hassan. Number 10, Kayla Corson, Anna to the Infinite Power by Mildred Ames, and Where the Sidewalk Ends by Shel Silverstick. Love it. Number 11, Unknown. Number 12, Kyle Keeley, I Love You, Stinky Face by Lisa McCourt, and The Napping House by Audrey Wood. Maybe clues? Okay, we'll move on to the section of possibly clues. We're not sure. Statues ringed around the domes. Thomas Wolfe, Booker T. Washington, Stephen Sondheim, George Orwell, Lewis Carroll, Dr. Seuss, Maya Angelou, Shel Silverstein, Pseudonymous Bosch, and Todd Strasser. That's a lot of information. Wow, said Akimi, stepping back to study the walls. What an incredible mess. Yeah, said Kyle. Okay, guys, there are 8 more book rooms to explore, and who knows how many more wild cards. Whose turn is it? Yours, said Sierra. Kyle flicked the spinner. Green, the 500s, science. He pulled the first green card from the deck. 4 and 20 were once in a pie. 598.367 might tell you why. Blackbirds? said Miguel. I guess. Well, sighed Akimi, let's go check out another book. There's still like an inch or two left on our whiteboard. The 500s room was like a miniature museum of natural history. In addition to towering walls of books, there was a whole planetarium of stars and constellations projected on the ceiling. Models of planets whirled in their orbits. Sparkle-tailed comets shot around the corners of bookshelves. Oh, that sounds fantastic. Kyle and his teammates made their way back to the 590s. Zoology. Shelving units were arranged in a square around an open area, maybe 20 feet by 20 feet wide. When the team entered the empty space, the lights dimmed and a guy with long wavy hair who looked like an artistic Daniel Boone faded into view. He was wearing some kind of bear fur coat and toting a musket. Bonjour, said the hologram. It's John James Audubon, said Sierra, the famous ornithologist. He gives people braces, said Kyle. No, said Sierra with a laugh. He studied and painted birds. A black bird with a yellow beak flew into the open area and roosted on a tree branch. The bird and the tree were both holograms, too. This beautiful black bird from Alexandriaville, Ohio, said the semi-transparent Audubon image, can mimic in song the sounds it has heard. And the bird started wailing. Wow, said Akimi, that sounds exactly like a police siren. Yo, said Miguel, freaky. To learn more, said Audubon, be sure to read Bird Songs, Warbles, and Whistles, written by Dr. Diana Victoria Garcia with classic illustrations by moi. With that, Audubon sat down on a camp stool. An easel appeared. The blackbird struck a pose, and the outdoorsy artist started painting the bird's portrait while humming Blackbird by the Beatles. Okay, said Kyle. This is the strangest clue yet. Well, here's the book at least, said Sierra, who had found 598.367 on the shelf. So what do a blackbird's wails and warbles have to do with finding our way out of the library, said Akimi. Just then they heard a very different sound. Behind one of the bookcases, something growled, then roared. Did you guys hear that? Said Sierra. Yeah, said Akimi. I don't think it's a red robin redbreast. A very rare white Bengal tiger with icy blue eyeballs crept out from behind a wall of bookshelves and stalked into the open area where Audubon sat painting his bird portrait. Is that another hologram? Asked Miguel. Roar! No one stuck around to find out. Woo! That was the end of chapter 35. Hopefully chapter 36 will tell us what happened next. Oh, not exactly. Down on the first floor, Charles and Andrew were working their way around the semicircle of 3-story tall, floor-to-dome bookcases filled with fiction. It was nearly 8 p.m. We need to find that blasted book, said Charles, craning his neck to steady the shelves. I'm getting kind of hungry, mumbled Andrew. You had a snack this afternoon, snapped Charles. Well, now it's time for dinner. No, we need to find Anne of Green Gables first. The classic by Lucy Maud Montgomery was the middle book on the top shelf in the staff picks display case. So far, Charles, Haley, and Andrew had not been able to find it anywhere in the library. Unfortunately, said Andrew, they've temporarily erased the book's call number from the database. So we wouldn't know what to punch into the hover ladder's control panel, grumbled Charles. Actually, said Andrew, they might have shelved it in the children's room, or maybe the 800s with literature. Could be in the 400s too, because it was originally written in Canadian, which is technically a foreign language. So you have said, Andrew, repeatedly. But we've already searched those other locations several times. has to be here with the other fiction titles. You just need to fly up and find it. Well, said Andrew, I'm kind of afraid of heights. Fine, whatever. I'll go up and grab it, but you have to give me some kind of call number to enter into the hover ladder. Lucy Maud Montgomery wrote other Anne books. There's Anne of Avonlea. Charles dashed over to the nearest library table and swiped his fingers across the glass face of its built-in computer pad. Here we go. Anne of Avonlea by Lucy Maud Montgomery, F-M-O-N. Yes, said Andrew. Fiction books are usually put on the shelf in alphabetical order by the author's last name. Non-fiction titles are classified according to the Dewey Decimal System. How long have you known this? Andrew's nose twitched. Since 2nd grade. So all we ever needed was F-M-O-N. We could have found this book hours ago. Andrew gulped. You are such a disappointment. Shaking his head, Charles huffed over to one of the hover ladders. He quickly jabbed F, M, O, and N into the keypad. The boot clamps locked into place around his ankles. You owe me for wasting all this time, Andrew. You owe me big time. If you let me down once more, I swear I will tell everybody you're a big blubbering baby. I'll Twitter it and post it on Facebook. Don't worry. I'll make you glad you picked me for your team, Charles. I promise. The hover ladder lifted off the floor and gently glided up to the end section of the fiction wall. Shuttling sideways, it carried Charles over to a shelf displaying all the Anne books. He grabbed a copy of Anne of Green Gables. As soon as he did, the ladder started its slow descent to the floor. What'd you find? Asked Andrew when Charles had landed. The clue we needed. He showed Andrew the card that had been tucked inside the front cover. See? Plus it looks like a silhouette of Anne. Okay, said Andrew. It's C plus hat. So the word is chat, which, by the way, could also be shot, the French word for cat. Well done, Andrew, said Charles, even though he knew the clue was really C plus Anne equaling can, thereby making the puzzle, you can walk all the way blank blank in the past blank. The way what did what, he wondered. And what does NN mean? Charles desperately needed to find the 3 missing pictograms. Suddenly, Mr. Lemoncello's voice boomed out of speakers ringing the rotunda. Hey, Charles! Hey, Andrew! Let's do a deal! Game show music blared. A canned crowd cheered. Yay! Charles turned around and saw shafts of colored light illuminating 3 envelopes perched on top of the librarian's round desk. Clarence, the security guard, marched into the reading room and, folding his arms over his chest, took up a position near the 3 envelopes. We have a green envelope, a blue envelope, and a red envelope, said Mr. Lemoncello. And 2 of those 3 envelopes are copies of 2 of the 3 pictogram clues you still need. In one, there is a clunker card. If you pick an envelope with the clue, you get to keep it, and you get to keep going. But once you pick the clunker card, you're done, and you must suffer the consequences. Andrew raised his hand. Yes, Andrew. What are the consequences? Something bad, said Mr. Lemoncello. In fact, something wicked this way will probably come. Do you want to do a deal? Yes, said Charles. The canned audience cheered. Yay! All right then, Charles, you roll first. Pardon? Swipe your fingers across the nearest desktop computer panel. The Dice Tumbler app is up and running. Again, the pre-recorded audience cheered. They sounded like they loved watching dice tumble more than anything in the world. Charles slid his fingers across a glass pane. The animated dice rolled. Ooh, cried Mr. Lemoncello, double 6s. That gives you a 12. Is that good, sir? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, Andrew, your turn. Puckelman tapped the glass. The dice flipped over. Another set of doubles, said Mr. Lemoncello. Yeah, muttered Charles. 2 ones. Snake eyes. Is that bad? Asked Andrew. Maybe, said Mr. Lemoncello. Maybe not. Okay, guys, which envelope would you like to open? Charles thought about it while tick-tock music played. They were given this chance to play Let's Do a Deal after they located the Anne of Green Gables clue. Coincidence? He didn't think so. We'll take the green envelope, sir. Clarence presented the green envelope to Charles. Open it, said Andrew. Open it. Charles undid the clasp, pulled out a card. A loud zonk rocked the room. The card was black, with blocky white type. Uh-oh, mumbled Andrew. What's it say on that card? Sorry, kids, you're out of luck, read Charles. So out of doors, you're all now stuck. Clarence picked up the blue and red envelopes and marched back toward the entrance hall. What's that mean? Well, said Mr. Lemoncello, Charles rolled a 12 and you rolled a 2. What's 12 plus 2? 14, Charles said eagerly, the way he always did in math when he wanted to remind the teacher that he was the smartest kid in the class. Oh, said Mr. Lemoncello, this is not good. In fact, I'd say it's stinkerific. Stinkerific, said Andrew. Is that even a word? It is now, said Mr. Lemoncello. JJ, tell them what they've lost. An authoritative female voice boomed out of the ceiling speakers. Warning, due to a clunker card, all 10 Dewey Decimal doors will lock in 10 minutes at exactly 8 o'clock. If you are in one of those rooms, kindly leave immediately. The 10 doors on the second floor will remain locked for 14 hours. Andrew panicked. What? 14 hours? I told you 12 plus 2 was bad, quipped Mr. Lemoncello. Of course, it could have been good. If you had picked one of the other envelopes, you would have received a clue and a free 14-month subscription to Library Journal. Charles did some quick math. Sir, does this mean we'll be locked out of the 10 Dewey Decimal rooms until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning? Bingo, said Mr. Lemoncello. It sure does. This stinks, whined Andrew. We need those stupid rooms to solve your stupid puzzle. Clunker cards stink. This game stinks. 14-hour penalties stink. Charles did his best to block out Andrew's rant. He needed to think. And then it hit him. Kyle Keeley's team had to be working on some other solution to the bigger puzzle of how to escape from the library. Otherwise, Charles and his team would not have been able to find the 9 clues they'd already picked up. Surely, if Keeley's team had been playing the same memory match game, they would have found at least one of the pictograms before Charles, Andrew, or Haley did. They must be working a completely different angle. Charles was certain that if he could use this downtime to learn what Keeley and his team had in their meeting room and combined it with his picture puzzle, he would emerge from the library victorious. Do not despair, Andrew, Charles said confidentially. We are still going to win. How? Charles leaned in and kept a hand around his mouth. So, no security cameras could read his lips. Remember, he whispered, you need to pay me back for wasting a ton of time in finding Anne of Green Gables. What? You're the one who picked the stupid green envelope with the stupid clunker card. Charles narrowed his eyes and chilled his hushed voice. So? Nothing, said Andrew nervously. Just thought I'd, point it out. Charles turned his eyes into blue ice. So, whispered Andrew, swallowing hard. What exactly do you want me to do? Find a way to sneak into community meeting room B. Andrew wheezed in panic. That's impossible. Don't worry, I have an idea. What is it? 2 words. Sierra Russell. And that's the end of chapter 36. What do you think's going to happen next? I don't know either. Come back tomorrow for the next 2 chapters. See you then.